What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with a brand new show. So, it is a new show on BT. It's Tyler Perry's The Oval, and this is season 1. This is the pilot episode. So, without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just get right into the video. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but we're gonna go ahead and just jump into it. All right, you guys. So let's just name some of our characters that we have. I don't know how many characters are in this show, but I'm gonna name the ones that we saw in this episode. So we saw President Hunter Franklin. We see the First Lady. Her name is Victoria Franklin. We were introduced to the head butler. His name is Richard. We met the chief of staff. His name is Donald Winthrop. We saw Richard's wife. Her name is Nancy. Then we saw Richard's son. His name is Barry. Barry has a little girl. Her name is Callie. So we also know that Callie's mother, her name is Ruth. The First Lady, her daughter's name is Gail. We have Lily, who is Donald's wife. And we have a Bobby. So those are the characters that we were introduced to in this pilot episode. I thought it was fantastically done. Like the episode in the beginning, it started off a little slow, but toward the end of it, it got really, really good. I thought that going into this, I'm like, man, this is gonna be a knockoff version of Scandal. It does not seem like a knockoff version of Scandal to me. But it was really, really good, and I love that set. Like, man, that looks like the White House. It really does. So big ups to Mr. Perry. Like, man, you did a good job with that one. So you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into the video. All right, so the episode opens up. So we see Victoria. Victoria is getting ready for something. We don't know what Victoria is getting ready for. And then we see Hunter come in. So Hunter, he want to kind of do some stuff with Victoria, but Victoria's like, back the hell up off of me. And then, Hunter just out of nowhere just hauls off and slaps the shit out of Victoria. I'm like, damn, abusive much? And then she's like, you said you weren't going to do this anymore. And then these two just get into a knockdown, drag out fight with one another. I'm like, well, damn. I did not expect that from Victoria, but I mean, Victoria was giving him the What's Love Got to Do with It, Tina Turner, Ike Turner fight in the back of that limousine. I'm like, yes, whoop his white ass. Whoop that ass. Like, be like what Madea, said, grit ball, get your pot of grits and pop, whoop, pop, whoop. Like, that's what I was thinking, but so far I was interested with that. So we find out that this is the transitioning stage from one president to the next president. We don't know who the former president was, but they did make some mentions of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, president, my forever president and my forever first lady. But they made some mentions to those, and I'm like, okay. So I'm wondering if they're not going to say who's in office now, which we're not going to mention his name. But I'm like, I wonder if it's a transition before, like if this is a future, like, alternate reality, alternate world where he is leaving office and we're getting a new family in, or if this could be the family that is replacing the Obamas. We don't know. But we do know that the Franklins are moving into the White House. So, we see Richard, who is so Richard. So Richard is the butler, like I said. So Richard calls his wife Nancy. She's like, she's asking him about the, how are they? He said they haven't made it yet. And, she says, well, tell me, what can you tell me about them? He says, well, I can't tell you anything about them. So then he wants to talk to their son, Barry. So he tells Barry to come over to the White House to help him move some stuff. So we also saw Barry. So Barry was in his room and he was having sex with his girl. Don't know the girl's name yet. So then, Nancy was like, she's outside. They were whispering it because, Callie, she was there. So they didn't want Callie to know what they were talking about, but his baby mama's outside. So then the girlfriend tells him, like, you have to go out there and handle that. So then he goes outside and we see, her name is Ruth. I don't know if I said that. I probably said her name earlier. But we saw Ruth. So Ruth was covered up and it looked like, if you guys watch Black Ink Crew Compton, she looked like that girl Voodoo Doll's mama when she was all wrapped up. And, he talking about she's a part of a cult. So you can't see your daughter. She's like, she's like, what he said he has custody of her. But she just wants to see her daughter. And she keeps referring to this person called the highest. He says, "See, that's your problem. Like you keep referring to this person like there's something wrong with you. You are in a freaking cult." And he leaves because Nancy comes down and tells him like, "You're upsetting Callie. Why don't you leave and let me deal with her?" So, she was like, "Miss Nancy, do you know he's not going to let me see my baby? Like, I need to see her. Like, my counselor told me that it would be good for me to see her." So she's like, "You know what, Ruth, I'm going to do the best that I can." She said, "Miss Nancy, you know he's not going to go for it." She says, "Again, I'm going to do the best that I can." So then we see Barry. He goes out to help his dad, Richard. And, Richard can't put a lot of pressure on his back. So I'm assuming Richard must have either had surgery on his back or he just had bad back problems. So then we are introduced to another character. I forgot to put her name down, Miss Scylla. So she walks up and then Nancy calls Barry to advocate for Ruth, and Barry's like, "No, mom, like she left one addiction. She was addicted to drugs, and to go to this cult, she's going from one addiction to the another." And like I said, I kind of got ahead of myself. But Ruth called, not Ruth. Nancy called Ruth to tell her that Barry said no, and she's like, "Miss Nancy, my counselor said it would be helpful for me to see my baby. Like, can you please help me?" She says, "Okay, Ruth, you can come by here. Come about 9 before Barry gets back, and you can see her." I'm like, "Ruth, not Ruth, Nancy." Like, I don't know why Miss Nancy felt like she could trust her. Like, if the girl was on drugs at one point and now she's in a cult, what made you think you can trust this girl? Like, I don't understand that. I really don't. So then we see Barry. So he's talking to Richard, and Barry's just telling him, Ruth wants to see Callie, but I don't want her to see him. He's like, "Well, you have full custody, so you'll say whatever you say goes." And he's like, she wants to bring her around the highest, but from what I'm hearing, the highest is married to all the young girls in the cult. I'm like, ew, we have to go there that fast. So then, Miss Scylla, she comes up to Barry and Richard, and she tells them they have a problem, and we're like, "What's the problem?" Then we see the first child, Gail. Gail is drunk off her ass. So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna show you where your room is." And she was, there's a girl, I think her name is Jean. So, she said, Miss Scylla was like, "Show her to her room." She's like, "No, I don't want her to show me to my room. I want him to show me to my room." Talking about Barry. I'm like, "Oh shit," because I could see it all in little homegirl's eyes. Little homegirl was attracted to Barry, and she wanted to try something with Barry. I'm like, "Barry, don't do that. First of all, she's a minor, so definitely don't fall for that one." But Barry does take her to her room, and they said, "You know what, Jean, follow in behind them." So they get to the room, and Gail tells Jean to get out. So Barry's getting ready to walk out. She says, "Oh no, you stay," and she slams the door behind him, and she starts to hit on him, and she tries to have sex with him. He's like, "No, chill out. Like, can't do that." So then she gets down on her knees to unzip his pants. I'm like, and then he was talking about, "No, miss, stop." I'm like, "You're not doing a good job of telling her to stop." But okay, we're going to go with that one. So then he tries to move her out of the way, and she hits her head on, I don't know if that was like, I don't know what that was. I guess it was something at the foot of the bed. So she hits her head on there. I'm like, surprise, surprise. She passes out. So then, Barry is screaming for help. And then Jean comes in there. And then, Gail comes to her and she says that he tried to rape her. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. She tried to rape him? Wow. So then let's move over to Ruth, though, psychotic ass. So, Miss Nancy let Ruth come over. Now, Miss Nancy was like, "You know what, Ruth, you have been here for 2 hours. You've overstayed your welcome." And, she was trying to get Callie. So then Ruth just bear hugged Callie and she was like, "Mama, you hurting me." And, she was like, "Ruth, you got to go." Ruth ain't going nowhere because Ruth called for her cult goons to come out. And I'm like, "Oh, shit, Miss Nancy." That's why you don't trust people like that. Like, no offense to anybody that's in a cult. No offense to anybody who's been on drugs. But, I mean, she has, and it is like what Barry said. She went from being on drugs to a cult. She is not to be trustworthy. She went from one addiction to another addiction. So I don't know why Miss Ruth didn't see that. I mean, Miss Nancy didn't see that. I'm going to get Nancy and Ruth confused for a minute. because Ruth is an old lady's name. I don't mean to be offensive, but Ruth is an old lady's name. Like, I would expect for Miss Nancy to be named Ruth and for Ruth to be named Nancy. But we'll get it together eventually. Eventually. All right, so we're gonna talk about Don. So Don was outside of the room where First Lady and the president were when they were getting ready. So he went up to one of the Secret Service men. He says, "Do you hear that?" He says, "No." He said, "Good, keep it that way." I'm like, so does Don know that they abuse the shit out of each other? I was confused about that one. So so then we meet Don's wife, Lily. So Lily's on a plane headed back to D.C. for the inaugural ball. And she meets this guy that's sitting next to her. His name is Bobby. So, Bobby is nervous about flying, so he keeps getting, having the stewardess, or what do you call them now? Do you call them flight attendant? So he kept having a flight attendant bring him a drink. He's like, "Oh yeah, bring the lady one." She says, "No, the lady is fine." I'm like, okay. I think she can see right through him. So then Lily calls Don and she tells him that, they are being diverted to Charlotte, and that, she will do everything that she can to get there. She's gonna rent a car and she's gonna drive there. It might take a few hours. She said, "Don't worry about it. By the time you get here, it'll be over." I'm like, damn, he's rude. So then, we see Victoria and yeah, her name is Victoria. Victoria, and we see Victoria and Hunter. So they got ready. So they asked so Victoria asked, like, "So where's your wife at?" Because he said, "I did everything." He said, I busted my ass to get him here and her here, and you're not here." So they asked where she is because Victoria is wearing Lily's dress. So I'm assuming Lily is a fashion designer. So where am I at? So like I said before, Bobby beside her getting drunk as fuck. So then as Lily is getting off the plane, she calls Don to apologize to him, and Don immediately hangs their phone up in her face. I'm like, God damn, how rude can you be? So in the airport, Bobby is still drinking. I'm like, God damn, like you drink like a fucking fish. So, Lily, she sits down, she orders a drink. He's like, "Oh, you can have mine." And he tells a bartender, "Bring me another one." And I noticed that, so I'm like, okay, Bobby is flirting hella hard. He's like, "Can I sit with you?" She said, "Sure, come over here and sit with me." And when Bobby got up to go sit with her, I noticed on his ring finger, I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So Bobby is married, but he's flirting with Lily, who's married herself. I'm like, this is some crazy shit. Like, wow. Like a whole married man is hitting on a whole married woman. So then, we noticed that he put his hands on her thighs, and she's like, "Stop." And he was like, "You know what? I'm going to the bathroom." And she was like, "So you're going to stick me with the bill?" He says, "No. She has my credit card." He says, "In the bathroom, there is the changing area for the babies. And we can go in there, lock, one door, lock it, me and you." I'm like, no. That's a hard ass fucking no. You want to fuck me in the bathroom on a changing table, and then I'm pretty positive you ain't got no condom. But what does Lily do? Lily decides that she's going to go to the bathroom. I'm like, well, damn. You didn't have to think about that? Like, really? You don't know this man. You just literally just met him on the plane, but you're going to go willingly have sex with him. Okay. If that's what you like, I can't even say I love it, but if that's what you like, that's what floats your boat, but it's not what floats mine. Just couldn't do that. Like, that's somebody you don't know, you've never met in your life, and you having sex with him without a condom. Because I'm pretty positive they didn't have a condom on. I mean, if you're fucking in the bathroom, I'm pretty positive you ain't got one. But whatever. Moving on. All right, you guys. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into Gail. So, as the First Lady and the President were getting ready for the inaugural ball, Yuma, she came to talk to, the First Lady and tell them, like, your daughter, she's been a bit of a brat. She's not getting ready for this inaugural ball at all. So Victoria's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go down here and see what this little bitch got going. So Victoria goes down there. Her daughter and her son are in the room together. And she tells her son, "You leave and go get ready. I want to talk to your sister." Because And actually, so the thing is, the reason why Gail doesn't want to get ready for the ball is because they want to invite her boyfriend, and she's like, "You don't even know him. Like, why would we? He's not on the list, so he's not coming." And then she said he's a drug dealer. So she tells her like, "Little girl, you not gonna ruin this shit for me. Like, absolutely not." Because she said, "What about your father?" She said, "Forget him." She said, "Oh, that's what this is about." Okay, but she said, "Little girl, you're not gonna ruin this shit for me. Let me tell you that. Like, I will make you disappear." I'm like, "Damn, you will make her disappear?" Like, Sasha and Malia and Michelle Obama would never. Like, I will make you disappear. I'm like, God damn. And then she called her an ungrateful little bitch. I was like, well, damn. Tell her how you really feel about her. I'm like, well, really, Victoria? You tell that little bitch how you feel about it. But she was being a little bitch. I mean, I can't even deny that. Gail was being a little bitch. So, we see that, like I said, First Lady, they were getting ready for the inaugural ball. They did get ready for it. So the son was there, and she was like, "Where's your sister?" They were like, "She's not here." Like, she's at the White House. So, Victoria tells Yuma, "You know what, Yuma? Go to the White House. Make sure she does not leave before I get there. Make sure she doesn't leave until I get there." I'm like, ooh. Like, she said, "I will make you disappear." And I'm like, when she said she'll make her disappear, she will, like, she basically was telling her, like, "Little girl, I will fuck you up." And I'm like, I believe you, Victoria. So, as Victoria is getting ready to walk down, so that she and the president can do their first, their dance, she see this chick in the audience. She's like, I'm like, wait a minute, what was that look? So, she and the president, they dance to Al Green. And, after it's over, she says, what did she say to him? "I hate you, you son of a bitch, because you brought your whore here." I'm like, oh, so he's cheating. Oh, and he's cheating with a black woman. So he's kind of like Fitz from Scandal, because Fitz had a thing for Olivia, but he was also with Smelly Melly. But damn, Hunter is with a black woman. He's cheating on her with another black woman. So Hunter loves him some black women. All right, Hunter, I ain't mad at you, my boy. I am not mad at you. But you guys, that was the very first episode of the Oval. It was good, so good to me. Like I said, it did start out slow for me, and I didn't think that I was gonna get into it. But by the midway point, I was like, oh shit, yes, love this. So be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, share this video, and I will see you guys later for American Horror Story.